So, MTG, you know me, decided to do a little post here and talk about how powerful people are trying to silence her over the Epstein files. So, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has claimed that powerful people are trying to silence her over her renewed efforts to have the Epstein files released. She further added that she is not self-deletion, the S word, and that if she is harmed in any way, it would not be self-inflicted. Listen, I have my differencing of opinion with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's across the political aisle. Look, I identify as somebody on the left, but I'm politically homeless because the Democratic Party doesn't represent my values. And I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I'm a left independent, but fine. But there's been an ongoing similarity of patterns towards those who have been challenging and calling out Epstein and those associated with them. Most notably, some journalists and other people had to flee this country and literally come up with a whole new identity or hide somewhere in undisclosed locations so they're not caught because they got in too deep. And then there's also the people who have courageously spoke and went out and spoke out about this, especially some of the women, in which some of them passed away and died under very suspicious circumstances that looked like self-harm, which their families and friends have questioned a lot. And I do mean a lot, including, hey, even Jeffrey's own self-deletion, because the coroner's reports say, no, he didn't self-delete. Something else happened to him, starting with the M word. Murder, she wrote. Greene is backing a House resolution introduced by Republican Representative Thomas Massey that seeks to force a full House vote that would compel the Justice Department to release all remaining files related to Jeffrey Epstein, the financier and convicted human trafficker, who allegedly died by self-deletion in Manhattan jail in 2019 while awaiting trials on these trafficking charges. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, took to X on Saturday with a stark warning, telling her followers to find out what really happened if she were ever found dead, deceased, gone. I don't like these words here. Because you know something? Let's take this with a little bit of grain of salt here, but let's look at the bigger picture here. A lot of prominent people, especially at the beginning of this year, have been getting a lot of threats on the left and on the right. There's also been a lot of talk of overall the great effort to conceal the Epstein files. And Jeffrey Epstein knew a lot of politicians, a lot of big money people. He knew a lot of people in positions of power. Hell, I remember a time when you could not even really say his name fully. You got to even be careful here now, especially on YouTube. But heaven forbid something does happen, because the thing is, I'm worried about that now. I mean, we know a lot of people who have been gotten threats before. For example, many of the women who came forward talking about Biden or Cuomo. Tara Reid, she had to flee. We've had her on the show before in the past, and, she has reported how people have threatened her. It would not surprise me if somebody, or maybe groups of people, or unknown people texting or calling or leaving threatening messages at her office saying that she's been threatened about not covering the Epstein files. I mean, these are very serious things to be concerned about. And I want to know who's on the list. And I say this as somebody on the left. This isn't a left or right issue. This is if you got a soul. I want to know who's on the list. I want to know who these people are who partook in some of the deadly, depraved, horrific actions with Epstein. And even then, let's say they didn't do it. If they were friends with him, I want to know. Tell us about your friendship with your fantastic buddy, Jeffrey E. Let us know what he was like. Because the thing is, we all seen TV shows and movies about the rich and the powerful be it in ancient antiquity or science fiction or fantasy or in real life. We've all seen the documentaries. They all know. They play their games, but they know. They don't say it out loud, but they know. They knew. And if they didn't know fully, there were some hints in regards, hey, if you see this person, don't be alone with them. Right? I'm tired of pretending like this isn't the case anymore. This is the case. And so if you have a U.S. representative making a statement like this, you know what? I'm going to believe her. Yeah, I believe her. I believe her. She's not the first politician in American history to be warned and threatened. Hey, don't look too deep into these files. Don't look too deep into this. Don't look too deep into that. Otherwise, something bad will happen to you. It wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, I do. I do believe her. She says, I'm not self-deletion. I am one of the happiest, healthiest people you will meet. She wrote, dismissing any suggestion she might take her own life after backing a petition to unseal the records. The petition requires 218 signatures to bypass committee leadership and bring the resolution directly to the floor, a step Greene says is crucial in exposing what she calls the Epstein network. I can't be saying these two words out there because YouTube will hit us with a red flag. If something happens to me, I ask you to find out which foreign government or powerful people would go to such lengths to keep this information from coming out. The people understand what I'm saying. According to media reports, the White House has been pressing lawmakers privately to abandon the petition, but Greene said she has no intention of backing down. I stand with the girls and women who were abused and assaulted. Period. Every time, at all times. This isn't a pissing contest between political parties or rivals. The Epstein criminal network must be exposed, and my name will remain on the discharge petition. Earlier this month, the Oversight Committee released 33,295 pages of Justice Department records on Epstein, including redacted court files, surveillance footage, and other evidence. On Friday, House Democrats released another batch of calendars, flight logs, and financial ledgers naming Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon, promoting Republicans, accused them of cherry-picking to spotlight conservatives while withholding materials that could implicate Democrats. I want both, Democrat and Republican. Show us who they are, goddammit. Enough of this. Philip Bryant says, Epstein is now estimated to have 1,000 victims, poor girls whom he'd wow, assault, and toss a few $100. Even leaving the foreign connection aside, how did polite society tolerate him? See, that's the problem, Philip. The problem is you're assuming high society is polite society. You're assuming too much. You see, evil comes in many forms. It does. Sometimes evil isn't a stranger on the street. Sometimes it's in your own household or your inner circle of close people. Sometimes evil comes in the form of a bright white light smiling and telling you everything's going to be okay, but behind that smile is a sinister, twisted grin. Evil doesn't have to be poor and desolate or homeless. Sometimes evil sits upon the throne and is surrounded by beautiful things. And if one thing I have learned, evil in all its forms must be opposed. Let that be the watchword of the day. So if MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is being threatened, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to know who's on the list. All of you should know who's on the list. To the men on my channel, the manly men. Many of us, some of you are fathers, some of you are grandfathers, some of you are uncles, big brothers, cousins. Imagine that, those victims being somebody close to you and your family. And what keeps me up at night is knowing that there are people in positions of power who enjoyed their time with Epstein, still in power. If we're the good people we say that we are, we don't let this Epstein story die on the vine. We talk about it.